I am often asked, how did you manage to get in this and why do you know what you know about this? It started way back in 1979 where I was in the interior furnishing cleaning business, and I would end up in places like this that had exquisite handmade floors like that underwater. Why? Because the pipe had broken, frozen somewhere, and the place had become a disaster. All right? At that time, my company, the Service King, couldn't explain to them what I did or the kind of it. So I renamed the company Disaster Masters in 1980 because every time I would go out to places like this, I would run into this stuff all the time. And these people don't invite servicemen in to fix things. To the contrary, they do everything they can do to keep others out of their lives, which incorporates taking a perfectly good staircase and stacking it to the ceiling with things like paper towels, 2 vacuum cleaners, weighting the place down. I don't know why the stairs haven't collapsed, other than this is a very strong building. Comes on up like Ace Hardware. How many brooms does one need? And then you don't ever use it. There's a bathroom right there. Okay, it breaks a pipe, the water runs downhill downstairs into this kind of a mess. How do you deal with that? All right? How did this happen to begin with? You know, how do you undo 20 years of collecting? Look, we're on the 2nd floor of this building. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms up here stacked to the ceiling with stuff. You can't even get in the door. How many paper towels does one need? The answer is all of them. There's a bathroom here. In there. You can't even see the tub. Just think about calling a plumber and having the plumber and saying, listen here, I got a leak. And the plumber guy comes over here and he has to get underneath and fix the leak underneath this sink. He can't even get his tool bag up the stairs. How the hell is he ever possibly going to do this? They know that. The plumber revolts. Not only that, plumbers are not necessarily the most diplomatic people on the planet. So they look at them and they say to them, how the bleep can you possibly live like this? Blah, 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 blah. And it gets worse. Up until recently, the owner of this, or the tenant in this apartment, slept right there in this chair. But now then, that's no longer available. Listen, I'm sorry that you had to come here today to see all of this. But if you look over here, this is a man after my own heart. Look at this. He's got every kind of nothing stored away in here. He had stored just an enormous amount of stuff. Has everything everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's little tin cups of cash everywhere. On the floor here is a thing called battleship linoleum. It's almost in perfect condition because it's been covered up with debris for years. This is handmade. When this stuff gets wet, you can't even replace it anymore. You can't make a house, an old house like this, look like an old house anymore. There's the kitchen. There's plumbing in there. There's electricity in there. There's so much stuff in there you can't even get in the door to fix it. This place, again, is a living testimony of the things you shouldn't do to a structure. One spark over there in the corner, and it's all over. I have no idea what any of this stuff is. What we're looking at over there, what you can see is a bedroom. There's no way you can see over there because the stuff is stacked to the ceiling and it's just piled. The only way you find things like that is to start at the doorway, take the things apart one piece at a time, and what you see is what you get. At least twice a week I get phone calls from social workers in hospitals and people like that asking me this question. Is there any insurance for you coming in and taking care of the allegedly people who are sick? Does the health insurance policies pay for undoing years of this mess? Absolutely not. But guess what? The shrinks and the pharmaceutical companies are doing their best to get this kind of behavior in the DSM-5 so that they can get paid by the insurance company to undo this self-abuse here. I think that's a horror show. More importantly, I know for a fact that therapy does not work for these people. It is completely as dumb as having therapy for cigarette smoking. There's not a therapist on the planet that's ever done therapy that said, traditional therapy, and said, you're going to quit smoking. Same deal here. These people do this kind of stuff because of the way they think. And that's that. It's not any different than religion. People, there's no insurance for religion either, because that's the way they think.
Action.
And guess what? In places like this, first thing we want to know, is the place insured? Guess what? There is an insurance policy on this place. And I guarantee you, if the insurance company knew that the contents of this house look like this, they'd cancel this thing yesterday, not tomorrow. This is the contract of insurance. Where are we going to put it? Well, I don't know. Oh, yeah, let's do it. We can stuff it right there. It'll fit with all this other stuff. I'm Ron Alford in Oceanside, New York. Wishing that I didn't have to be here today to show you this. You all right?